Vladimir Putin of Russia caves on Ukraine peace deal with Donald Trump in a major U-turn. The Russian president is understood to have a list of weighty demands, one of which would be that Kiev abandon its long-held ambition to join NATO. Putin is ready to make a massive U-turn and discuss a Ukraine ceasefire deal with President-elect Donald Trump, sources claim. The Russian president is understood to have a list of weighty demands, one of which would be that Ukraine abandon its long-held ambition to join NATO. Trump, who won the thumping victory in the United States election in November over Democratic rival Kamala Harris, will enter the White House in January. The Republican has been deeply critical of President Biden's handling of the conflict and has promised to end the fighting in a day. 5 sources with knowledge of Kremlin thinking told Reuters Putin is open to discussing a peace deal in the first detailed reporting of what he would accept in any agreement brokered by the US president. Putin's troops now control a chunk of Ukraine comparable to the size of the US state of Virginia, coming up to 3 years since Russia's invasion. According to the 5 current and former Russian officials the news agency spoke to, Moscow could broadly agree to freeze the conflict along the front lines. 3 of the people, all of whom asked to remain anonymous, said there also could be room for negotiation over how the 4 eastern regions of Donetsk, Lugansk, Zaporizhzhia, and Kherson would be carved up. 2 of the officials said the Kremlin may also be open to pulling out of the relatively small area of territory it holds in the Kharkov and Mykolaiv regions in the north and south of Ukraine. However, according to 2 of the insiders, Biden's decision to allow Ukraine to launch ATACMS deep into Russia could complicate and delay any agreement. It could also see Moscow's demands harden as the most hawkish in the leadership push for a larger chunk of Ukraine, they claimed. 2 of the sources, when asked what a proposal agreement could look like, referred to a draft agreement that was almost signed in April 2022, following talks in Istanbul, Turkey. Putin has formally referred to the document in public as a possible basis for a deal, though it would see tough terms imposed on Ukraine. According to a draft copy seen by Reuters, under the agreement, Ukraine should agree to permanent neutrality in return for international security guarantees from the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council: Britain, France, China, Russia, and the US. One official said there could not be a deal without security guarantees for Ukraine, saying the question is how to avoid a deal that locks the West into a possible direct confrontation with Russia one day. In a statement to the agency hours before Biden's missile authorization, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Putin has already said that freezing the conflict would not work in any way, adding that the missile authorization is a very dangerous escalation on the part of the United States. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry is yet to comment on the reporting, though Kiev's leader Zelensky has vowed to not rest until every Russian soldier is driven out. Trump's communications director Stephen Chung said the incoming commander-in-chief, that is, of course, Donald Trump, is the only person who can bring both sides together in order to negotiate peace and work towards ending the war and stopping what's going on. But analysis from the think tank, the Institute for the Study of War, said the messaging from Moscow suggests little has changed in their outlook. The manner in which the Kremlin is trying to set its terms for negotiations strongly suggests that Russia's objectives remain unchanged and still amount to full Ukrainian capitulation. And he said the Kremlin does not appear any more willing to make concessions to the incoming Trump administration than it was to the current administration. And this is on Express UK by Chris Samuel. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.